Hey, Kliq This fans, want to get closer to the show than ever? Join Kliq This TV. With 2 levels to choose from, Kliq This TV offers early commercial-free access to wrestling's hottest podcast, plus live audience tapings of their show every friggin' week, and your chance to participate with Kevin and Sean in the monthly Nash and Friends watch-along show. Head to KliqThisTV.com now and get inside the show that's just too sweet.
The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussion.
Back from Bogota or Medellin. Where the hell were you, Kevin?
I was in Medellin.
Medellin, okay. Kliq This, the Kevin Nash podcast. He's Kevin, I'm Sean. If you missed last week, we talked about Kevin's impending trip to the nation of Colombia. When you were talking about getting a medical procedure in Colombia, I thought, Columbia Hospital in New York. Oh, you'll be up here. But no, the nation of Colombia. And how did that go?
It went well.
I saw some photos of the procedure online.
Yeah, it went well. I was supposed to grab some procedure shots of me getting my neck done, but I haven't got them yet. So
what were you? I saw the one you were on your side. What
that
were
was
they
my
doing
shoulder.
there?
One was in the rear end of the actual tissue, my supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and then the other was directly into the shoulder joint. So in between the bones.
And you're I can't remember. You're knocked out, or you're like in a twilight haze kind of?
No,
nothing.
No, nothing, man. This guy he's just. I think if he had that ability with his penis, he'd be able to rape you and you wouldn't know it. He just slides that shit in.
Slides it right in. So and no local or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
So this is like a real man procedure. This is like one of those deals.
No, it's just. I mean, it's like one of those things. You know, when you're going to pay the price that stem cells cost, which isn't cheap, and you're going to go to Colombia to get the procedure, the last thing on your mind is your pain level, because you got to be in so much fucking pain in the first place.
True.
Which is the biggest problem. You know, with stem cells, is you wait until you're fucking, until you're so beat up, to whereas when you first start to get, like if something's chronic, like you've got a problem with your neck, you might just be an office dude, man. You don't have to be taking bumps. But if you're fucking bent over like this all day long, and, fucking your head weighs like 20-something pounds. So, just if something becomes chronic, man, this isn't an option before they start fusing shit. And, as soon as they fuck with your spine, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know what? I guess the human being is willing to tolerate extensive amounts of pain. And depending on the, childbirth is fucking painful. Not that we know, but still.
Yeah, so they say.
So they say. I think did I tell the story in here when I got my my only cavity? To this day, it remains. I'm 50. I've had one cavity. And my dentist's office was near this place called Caallahan's Hot Dogs. These gigantic foot-long hot dogs. And the myth was they were deep-fried in beer. They were amazing. So that was always the post-dentist trip, was right to Caallahan's. So I'm sitting in Frank's chair. I'm like, I guess I was like 35 years old at the time. He's like, oh, he goes, cavity. I'm like, no, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, I will take care of it. Don't worry about it. So he's sitting down to get ready. Now I start to think about the food. And I said, wait, hold on, Frank. I said, if you do Novocaine. How long is this going to take before I can eat? He said, well, you got to wait 3 hours. You'll chew right through your lip. If you won't even know. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. I said, now what about the filling? He goes, 20 minutes, half hour. I said, all right, we're doing this no Novocaine. He's like, what? Are you sure? I didn't want to reveal the reason, but because of the gavone that I am, I got my only filling with no Novocaine so I could go have a fucking hot dog right after it. I'm not proud of it, but it was my marathon man moment.
Which leads to your fucking stellar blood work.
I haven't had a hot dog in a very long time.
There's a fucking pattern here. I don't know if you catch
all right,
that.
well, hey, cunt, let me tell you, I'm down 9 pounds. In what was that? 2 weeks ago we did that.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks.
There's nobody happier, I'm sure, besides your family than me. So
that I will continue to live. Yes.
Yeah.
So down 9 pounds. But the minute I lose the requisite weight and get the blood work where it is, you know how the world works. I get hit by a fucking bus. That's how it's going to go.
No, how it goes. You'll be more alert and lighter on your feet, and you'll be nimble enough to miss the bus.
We'll see. We have a live audience here tonight. I think, let's see, David. Who else have we spoken to? Brandon,
Next
James, Jen. Hi, Jen. You guys can be part of this, too, if you go to KliqThisTV.com. And just got to be part of that 11 soft membership. It's the best $9.99 you'll ever spend. We had a little fun the other night. We'll talk about that later. So welcome, everybody, here. We had some feedback from last week's episode. Mose X says, I know this has a wrestling base, but damn if this show is not so much more. Thanks, Sean and Kev. Love the conversation. It's that, I remember the press release we sent out almost a year ago. What episode is this? 46. Kevin, we're 6 episodes from 52. That would be 1 year.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the same time, it's just as you get older, man, the fucking years just go by faster and faster.
I know.
So
That's
just
true
like,
too.
man, it's just...
But the amount of work, I mean, we did a lot of figuring out how this business works and monetizing it and whatnot.
Oh, no, I mean,
Took a year.
it was an adventure, you know. Like I say, to me, it will always be a venture of love because my son was the one that pointed me in this direction. And, you know, I look right now on the screen and I see Scott and I on one corner in graphics, and I see me and my son on the other, and this is for T. And I mean, I don't know. I think that for my mental health and everything else, I think that this is, you know, like my son pointed me in the right direction. So
we recommend anybody who having a tough time or grieving, start a podcast. It'll be great therapy for you.
Yeah, as long as you don't want to make any fucking money.
Jake Bohannon says Kev's skincare game is on point. He's glowing. Any tips would be appreciated, Kevin.
Now it's got to the point now where the sun is pretty. It's like a fucking. I thought the UV, like the limit on UV was 10, but I looked the other day and our UV was 11. I'm like, what?
They added one for Florida.
Yeah,
as the ozone layer depletes.
Exactly.
We're going to just add numbers.
But I go out with my dog in the morning, and he can only take that heat for about 15, 20 minutes. And I'll just go out there with my shirt off and a pair of shorts and just sit down on a lawn chair and get my 15, 20 minutes of vitamin D. And that means that just that little bit of color always helps. Mm-hmm. Which makes sure that after that you got to moisturize. So,
well, there's the what do you use for that? A little bull semen? What, are you still going with that or the?
I have an Aveda super hydrating lotion that I use. It's made by Aveda. So I use that. Sometimes I also have some from my company. It's some tincture, not tincture, but pain medication. It's CBD and THC. It's
in a cream.
It's a balm. It's it's like a balm, and I always at nighttime I rub that around my eyes. That balm. So.
All right, well, Jake, there you go. A little bit for you there.
I figure it might not be doing anything, but it makes my eyes moist, and it'll get crusty in the morning. And if there's a chance that your eyelashes can't get stoned.
Because of the THC content.
I'm putting it out there. So.
Your fucking eyebrows start to just droop a little bit.
Yeah, you start getting that Jack Klugman look.
John Thompson, I'll be honest, I watch this show as much for Sean as I do for Nash, right? This is a response to someone telling me to be quiet last week. Sean's an interesting dude with great insights, and I really love film and the arts, and I know Sean does as well. Always pop for hearing David Lynch's name on a wrestling pod. We don't do enough David Lynch, John, but maybe we can. Maybe we can. And with the addition of Nash and friends, who knows? Maybe he'll come on and talk film with us.
I'll just say this then. Sailor, you make me hotter than Georgia asphalt.
What film?
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart, Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern. Yes.
That's right. He was Sailor.
Very good. Sailor, that's right. Not one of my faves of the catalog, Wild at Heart, but better than probably 99% of what's on your streamers today. So if someone wants to go down the rabbit hole,
it's got some Lynch-ism in it. So.
Right. Favorite Lynch? Wesley's asking me the favorite Lynch.
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet's amazing, and still not off the rails yet. With still commercial enough, I think, to get some widespread appeal. A bit of a Twin Peaks mark. I know that was toned down a lot for TV.
Still the sensibilities, though.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Mulholland Drive was creepy as fuck. What's his name? Oh, Jesus. The Robert Blake with the white face and the shaved eyebrows.
The fuck was that called?
That was Mulholland Drive, wasn't it?
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Mulholland Drive. Yeah.
Was Nolte in that?
No. I want to say Bill Pullman. My memory failing me?
Who the heavy was? Smacked the girl around.
Lost Highway.
Yeah.
They were one after the other. That's
Yes.
right. Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive. Lost Highway was fucking freaky, too.
Yeah.
It had a little Patricia Arquette in it, did it not?
You know what a
hot
great
little monkey.
A great movie is True Romance. Like Slater's work of art. True Romance is fucking bad as fuck.
I don't know. I thought it was style over substance. I was a film school douchebag at the time, so I was turning my nose up to anything over stylized. I was not a Tarantino fan initially, but yeah, Gandolfini has.
He gets torched by some fucking hairspray.
Yeah. Let's see. The Kind Werewolf 22. When my father died in 89, I spent a year tripping balls and stoned, only leaving the house to pick up Listening to the Wall and Wish You Were Here on repeat. Yes, we did bring up Pink Floyd last week. Kind of gave that the award as
that's
the stoner all-time award.
I
hate to reduce it to that because they're brilliant. John Waters and David Gilmour. Geniuses.
Did you ever just go through Instagram and like there'll be somebody just picking some fucking Pink Floyd, and you'll stop because it's all like Tristan played a ton of Pink Floyd. He always played Pink Floyd around the house. That was like, and when I was in the service, one of the Pink Floyd songs was used to introduced the Bradley fighting vehicle to Armed Forces TV. So, and he would always play the beginning of that, and I'd see this Bradley in my fucking head. And I was like, God, was I properly conditioned?
Yeah, it's atmospheric. It's beyond
Yeah.
I mean, it's not beyond music. It's beyond the song. You get more than the song. It's totally
I remember,
you're going someplace.
I remember the first time, it was in 1977. I was sitting in my buddy Mike Stapleton's Chevelle. I was on the University of Tennessee's campus, and me and him got blazed. He always had fucking killer smoke. We played ball together. And he fucking put on the Cars. That Candio album.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, because that was kind of like, that was like the first new wave shit that I'd ever heard. Because I was coming out of Motown. And if it was, like we had Seeger and that crew, and then we had we had the R&B crew, but we didn't have any fucking new wave shit. So that was just like, I was like, whoa. So it's like one of those things, like every time I hear that Candio, I need you so, and I just go, I'm sitting in that black upholstery and that fucking burgundy Chevelle, just like, me and Stapes getting stoned. Me and Stapes used to, we lived together one summer.
And too?
No, maybe 78, 79. And we used to, there was this place that was called, what the fuck was it? It was like almost like government apartments up on top of this hill, but they ended up like being like, we were able to rent them, like students were. And they had a huge parking garage, like probably 4-level parking garage. And it was across a walkway you could get to the old Knoxville Civic Coliseum or Civic Auditorium, whatever it was. But we used to go up there and get stoned and make up Frisbee games. And I'm talking like we probably had like a 2 football field fucking parking garage up on top of this hill. And just getting stoned and fucking and playing, making up games. With that 180-gram professional, fucking the black professional Frisbee.
Frisbee, right?
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to be caught up there with some fucking bootleg shit.
Justin Ryan, seeing Bob Mould's face on a wrestling thumbnail makes me happy. How about seeing his nipples? Did that? We were actually just talking before we went on air.
Bob just got married, so congratulations to Bob.
Oh, that's nice to hear. We gotta get him here somehow. Maybe a Nash and Friends. We can watch one of the things.
Nice.
We can watch one of the things he booked. I'd fucking love to talk to him about Husker Du and everything, but I guess we have to keep it somewhat wrestling. But no, we don't. We do whatever the fuck we want. Is what you're supposed to say right now. My show, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to talk about sugar and Husker Du for 2 hours, I will.
I've already had the conversation with him. I could definitely repeat it.
Okay. Christian Voorhees. Asking Sean when's the last time you watched a Chinese movie is like asking a construction worker when's the last time you did yoga. Talk politics, fart jokes, and wrestling. As long as you want to talk about it, we want to hear it. No matter how it may be. That's why we pay the big bucks.
Whoa! Somebody said they wanted to talk a little politics? It's been a fucking... Let's just not talk politics. Let's just talk economics, all right? And see if we can dissect this without going too political. We are, I don't know, maybe 13 days from basically crapping out on our national debt. And
we've been here so many fucking times, I feel like, in the last 10 years.
How can McCarthy sit there? And I know exactly how, because the deal he cut to get in to be the speaker after 15 fucking no thank yous was he cut so many side deals with fucking people like Green and fucking Bobbitt or whatever. I mean, just these fucking.
It becomes impossible to serve all the masters when you sell pieces of yourself like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just like, do we have that one thing where it's the cat that's like bringing up all the things that they want to cut, and then the Republicans
the cutting the spending.
Do we have that?
It was an Insta video.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Close up of the guy's face. I'm sure I gave that to you. But anyway, while we look for that, I just wanted to say that how many times has the debt ceiling been raised? And it was three times under Trump.
Let's look. Yeah, and let's look at that. So our debt is a little less than $32 trillion. So during Trump's administration, he did $8 trillion of that. So he did 25% of that. So it took him 4 years to accumulate 25% of what the rest of the fucking country did in the 244 years that it was in existence without Trump being president. So I mean, they like you said, they kicked the can down the block 3 times during the Trump administration. He said he would never use it for political bargaining. And then he's now stating, I'd get everything you want. It's like, so are you an American, dude?
The danger here is China,
yes,
Russia,
yes.
They are watching this with bated breath because here will be, I mean, they could say whatever they want about Western politics and our intervention into their business.
They want democracy to fail.
Here would be the first tangible thing they can point to.
All right, that's not it.
It's not that one. I sent you, it's a dude's face. It's like a close-up of a guy's face. But here would be the first public indication that they can of our system collapsing, and they can use this. It's a sign of weakness, and of course, as you know, with in the shell game of international politics, the front you put up, the image you have is half the game.
Could you imagine if China had a world currency waiting? This is all they would need is this fucking little bit of a glimmer. If they had a world currency, we would be fucked.
It's a good espionage novel right there. The Chinese currency they've been hiding from, waiting for. It's that guy, yeah, right there.
Let's just listen to him for a second here.
That's how whenever a Democrat gets in office, the GOP is like, we want a balanced budget. And so we say, okay, well, we can start by repealing the $2.1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires. And Republicans are like, no, we're not going to do that. And so then we say, well, how about we get rid of the $6,000 a month that Americans are paying for corporate welfare? And Republicans are like, no, we're not going to do that either. And so then we say, what if we audit this bloated military budget and find out where trillions of dollars went missing? And Republicans are like, no, we're not going to do that either. And so then we say, how about we stop deregulating banks and stop bailing out billion-dollar corporations? And Republicans are like, no, we're not going to do that either. And then we say, what if we get rid of the trickle-down scam that has taken $50 trillion in wealth from middle-class people and given it to the top 1%? The Republicans are like, no, we're not going to do that either. So finally, we're like, okay, well, then how exactly, Republicans, do you want to balance the budget? And they say, well, that's easy. We're going to cut veterans care, cut Social Security, cut Medicare, cut student loan relief. We're going to cut free school lunches and SNAP for poor people. You ever notice how whenever a Democrat...
So, and as this guy's saying this, those of you that are listening, he's got the news headlines at the bottom of the screen for each of the things he talks about and each of the proposed.
And that's frightening to me. That's frightening to me that you sit there and your constituents put you into office, and you sit there and you say, you know what, we need to cut. The first place to look at is Social Security, Medicare. We need to look at the entitlements for the old people. Now, I don't know where the fuck these people came from, but there's two people you take care of. One, it's the old people, because fucking they've just carried the fucking wagon, man. Every one of those motherfuckers, man, they carried the wagon. I mean, they've done their job. It's time for somebody to take care of them. And the next one is the children, because they've got to push this fucking country forward. So your money has to be spent in education to make sure that we don't continue to fall behind. And then you've got to take would you rather, it's like the fucking movie Dave, would you rather fucking have the after-school program, or would you rather do the survey to see whether people are happy with the automobile that they've already bought? Yeah, I thought so. Maybe we'll have the after-school program.
Yeah.
So it's just common sense, it's common decency, and I don't, it's like the Second Amendment. One of the things, like, people read the Second Amendment and they have this abbreviated version of it. And in essence, though, there's only a couple of lines, and one of them is that it's in order to arm a highly regulated militia.
To serve a highly regulated militia is the actual quote. Yes.
Yeah, to serve so tell me, if it's to serve a highly regulated militia, where's our fucking regulation? Why is it the most now you can fucking go to 7-Eleven and fucking get a Glock. It's ridiculous. So if you're going to fucking pick your little, but it says right to bear arms. It says right to bear arms. It's as long as these things are followed. In our country, we don't have a fucking problem with an 18-year-old buying a weapon, but God forbid if that motherfucker was to get in an automobile without a driver's license and drive. And the chance of him fucking killing, 17 kids while they're in class is pretty limited while he drives an automobile.
The budget issue. I mean, this is the age-old tug of war. There's nothing new in the categories that both sides of the aisle are going to fight for. The Republicans are going to try to wrest some of these the entitlement programs. I think has become a pejorative. It's kind of used in a nasty way. But any social services in any way is the first place they go to. And then the left always will address the military budget first. And so this tug of war happens all the time. Now, here's the thing. When we're talking about defaulting on our debt, okay, as a nation, this isn't the average budget bill, okay? So this is like an emergency stopgap measure. Don't you think that we should strip away the ability for, like, if a normal budget is coming to surface without a ticking time bomb attached to it, which is what we have here now.
Right.
I think there has to be, like the rules of debate, you can bring up this, you can't bring up that. We should have like a number of strikes that each side can use, and then it's got to be fucking passed. Decide what your 3 strikes are on this side, decide what your 3 strikes are on this side that you want taken out, and then it goes fucking through, because it's the nation's budget, the nation's defaulting on debt that we're talking about, not just the budget. So I think it's got to be handled differently. As far as I know, maybe I'm a moron, this is exactly the same as any other bill that would go before.
Yes.
It could be held up, they can filibuster, they could do all this bullshit that drags us into default.
This is the only one that the $1 trillion coin is in play. But
the singular,
yes,
the singular piece
singular,
of platinum.
Yeah, the always easy to find $1 trillion coin. No, but at the same time, it's just like, would it be that fucking difficult for Biden to just say, okay, we'll look at I don't know where I can't I don't know where the Republicans think that the biggest piece of pork is sitting on the Democratic side, but would you not be like if I was president, I would not have a problem carving a piece of that pork and giving it to him to get this done.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The stakes here are very different.
Yeah.
But no, it's the same uncompromising attitude.
Yeah, and it's just like, fuck, man. Like, I look at the world, especially our country, and I've never seen such divisiveness in my life.
Get rid of your credit card debt, get a lower monthly payment, and skip your next 2 house payments at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to save thousands with SaveWithConrad.com. Find out how much money you can save right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
We're a nation divided, of course.
Yeah,
and
I look at it and I say, is this because for the last 30 fucking years, Russia and China have used propaganda to slowly brainwash our country? Like right now we've got this TikTok fucking world that we live in. And like, so you get an algorithm and they find out that you lean right or you lean left. They start to feed that algorithm. They start to push you certain ways. And my whole thing is, it's real simple. Like when you look at, like, read The Art of War. It's of course more intricate than this, but one of the things is always divide and conquer. So right now, the United States is the most divided it's ever been, and fucking China is getting ready to pounce.
It's exactly how they want it. And when they first identified Russian involvement in the 2016 election, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The ads that I saw that were used by them were so smart. It was a pro-Hillary ad, and it was her embracing Muslims, and it was not a negative ad. It was a pro-Hillary ad that looked like maybe it was produced by the Muslim community. And it's like, we thank you, Hillary. I'm like, how fucking smart. They know the fabric of the fabric of the bigotry in this country toward that group of people right now.
Right.
And they could play on it by just running a pro-Hillary Muslim ad. It's and this is, of course, because there's boots on the ground here, of course, right? The spy game is strong everywhere in the world. You really have to know the fabric of American culture to know that just running that will drive people to vote for Trump.
There was another ad that I saw, and they talked about this girl that got raped, and they talked about this young defense lawyer that took the case of the guy that was being accused of the rape, and this young female defense lawyer went on to win this case for this man, and that young defense attorney was Hillary Clinton, but whatever her maiden name was.
Right.
And I saw that. I only saw it once or twice, but every time I saw it, there was such a hatred, that a woman would get a rapist off, I looked, I couldn't find, any validity into it, but it was just the fact that, you can't.
You also need the details. They tried to do that with Kamala Harris too.
Yeah, but you
got to look at the fucking details of every single case. If somebody drops the fucking ball, it's not the prosecutor's fucking fault.
But at the same time, though, it's just like you can't unsee those things.
Yeah.
And you don't think that you're being manipulated. You don't think that it's changing your perception. But I remember when I bent over that ballot for Trump versus Hillary, there was a hiccup. For just a split second, there was a hiccup where I said, like, oh, fuck, do I really want to vote for Hillary Clinton? And I said to myself, what have you been telling everybody? We're not voting for Hillary. We're voting for 2, possibly 3 Supreme Court spots. That's what we're voting for.
Hillary was not the best candidate. She was not. She has had a likability problem. I think we all know
Well,
that.
that and the fact that she shit the bed the last fucking 2 weeks, didn't go to Ohio. I mean, it's just.
I think, you know what? The biggest flaw, and this, you know what? I may be a registered Democrat, but I have a lot of fucking issues with this party. The middle-class white man will always be there.
Yep.
So we do not have to talk to them. We don't have to speak to their issues. No visit to the fucking Rust Belt? Seriously? Okay.
Yeah.
We exist in numbers that can swing an election a lot quicker than some other classes. So I think that the party left a whole lot of fucking chips on the table. And
I think that's what happened in fucking in Pennsylvania with fucking Oz and Fetterman.
right.
They really thought that, it's just like, no, man, like some fake motherfucker that ain't even from this fucking state ain't gonna come in here, and like we'll take the guy in the hoodie. We'll take the real guy, because fucking people put in real hours, and that city was built on sweat.
Yeah. Kev, I've been debating whether to bring this up, and I have some video evidence of something that I don't know if this is going to change the direction of the show, the course of my life, or what. But I'm sitting on something heavy here, and I don't. We talk about politics a lot, and I don't know if you know how divided we are. We know we're divided as a people, but I have some evidence that we are actually in a shadow presidency right now. And,
QAnon.
And I'm going to play this. I guess we got to let the cat out of the bag. Steve, here's my source.
Trump.
And why is he your favorite?
Because he says he does what he says. He gets it done.
Did he build the wall?
I believe he is, and I believe the mainstream.
But he didn't.
No. I believe that's just lies by the mainstream media, and they're covering up the truth.
Did he win the election?
Absolutely.
And why isn't he in office?
You know what? I mean, if you know what this shirt means.
What does this shirt mean?
Q is it's a mix of different things, but it's basically saying that the world is not how it seems. The media is all fake. The media is not reporting accurate information.
They're not reporting that he is actually in office?
What I believe, what actually quite a few Trump supporters believe, is that Trump is still the president right now. He is running a shadow presidency, possibly from Mar-a-Lago. The White House, the real White House, is shut down.
So you don't like how everything's going with him in office still?
So I believe that it's all a movie we're watching. That's what I have been told. It's all a movie, and we have, actors playing different people who.
Like who else?
So Biden, the real Joe Biden that was with Obama when he was vice president with Obama, he's been executed.
So that's like Tupac, Biggie. They have a replacement. He's a hologram.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And
you really think that?
I do. I'm here to see my favorite president in the whole world.
So,
Okay.
so there it is.
Okay. Wow. Oof. I mean, number one, just chilling.
Yeah.
To be able to get that kind of insight on
Yeah.
what's really going on. I've got a couple of questions. So, is the writer's strike affecting the film that they write on a daily basis?
You know what? I haven't seen a lot of footage out of the White House this past week.
Or that fake insignia. And on top of that, and this is the one that kills me, the people that say that Trump is still in office. And you know what? At this point right now, I absolutely believe it. I do. I believe it. And so much so that he is the president, and when we vote for president this year, he won't be able to because he's already done his 2 terms. And whether you're doing it shadow or not shadow,
got to take him off the ballot.
2 terms or 2 terms, and he's done. So if he didn't lose and he's still the president, then he shouldn't be able to run a 3rd term unless he changes. Maybe he's got some kind of classified documentation that he declassified this morning, and it was the FDR clause. So
you can continue to have multiple terms beyond the 2. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, former AG Bill Barr, I wasn't much of a fan of. But I want to speak to our Republican friends that listen, not the lunatics that troll us. I mean, the ones that are, real, that believe the tenets of the GOP, the real tenets, tempering government involvement, etc., rugged individualism, which I'm all for. This was the wisest I've heard Mr. Barr in any public speaking setting since he came to public awareness in his former role. And you can still have a candidate, folks, and get what you want done. But I think the one thing that anyone who voted for Trump learned is that he's not the guy that's going to deliver the meal that you ordered. Go ahead, play Geraldo Rivera's question here.
To be president of the United States. Is Donald Trump fit to be president?
This is the way I'll answer that, Geraldo, which is, if you believe in his policies, he's what he's advertising is his policies. He's the last person who could actually execute them and achieve them. He does not have the discipline. He does not have the ability for strategic thinking and linear thinking or setting priorities or how to get things done in the system. It is a horror show when he's left to his own devices. And so you may want his policies, but Trump will not deliver Trump policies. He will deliver chaos and, if anything, lead to a backlash that will set his policies much further back than they otherwise would be.
And so that's the perfect way to look at the ideology of the grand old party today. You still can have what you want. You need a fucking candidate, guys.
Yeah.
You need a candidate.
You need somebody that can actually, that knows the political process, that can get something done.
We don't advertise the identity of the entire Republican Party as like the kooks we play on here sometimes, like the guy in the Q shirt a few minutes ago, or feel free to just scroll down some of our YouTube comments on the pages. They're there. I wish they were working, but they're there, posting. You still can have the party back. I'd be pissed off if I was voting red, and they hijacked my fucking deal like that.
Yes.
Anyway, we calm down. You know who we should thank? We should thank Sean Waltman, who joined us last week.
Yes, we should. It was great to have. It was really nice to have Sean.
Shout out to Sean. We did a watch along on the first edition of Nash and Friends, which you could be a part of by joining KliqThisTV.com. If you go to the 11 Soft membership, you get a monthly episode of Nash and Friends, where Kev and me and our guests sit down and we watch some stuff. We watched a great tag team match with Scott and Kev and Sean and Sean, the other Sean. And we had some fun. Anyone here can attest to that. Anyone in our room tonight that was there, send us some of your comments up here if you enjoyed it. And the June Nash and Friends will be announced soon. Hopefully next week we can announce our guests.
You know what I saw today? And I want to think it was on Bret Hart's Twitter, was some clips, and several, of a European title between Davey Boy and Owen. And I think it was on maybe a Raw. But it was that same era as that match we watched, and same kind of timing. Owen was so fucking good.
That fast-paced...
but I mean, everything means something. And
the logic, yeah.
And it looks, it's pro wrestling. It's the working the arm, but not Circus Olay working the arm, but actually almost like a little bit of that like catch feel, like that they do over in France.
Does Davey maybe not get the credit that, I mean, Dynamite is always talked about, both for his work in Japan and here. Bret, of course, is in class by his own. But does Davey sometimes get overlooked in his earlier years?
Davey could work his ass off.
Yeah, especially for his size too.
Yeah, Davey was, and he was safe. He was strong. He was strong. Yeah, he was strong as a fucking ox. He picked you up. He laid you flat. His shit looked snug. He never fucking T-boned you. Never hit you in the T-bone, which is here. And no, he was a fucking great talent.
We lost Jim Brown yesterday.
Ugh. It was one of those things where I saw it on ABC Sports first. And of course they cover it in sports because everybody knows that if you take Jim Brown's entire life, it was those 9 fucking years with the Browns.
Not the social justice aspect of what he did.
Nothing.
Equality in sports, really, which was very needed at the time.
And so they go into the football, and then immediately before they kind of go into anything that he did with any social justice, social awareness, helping inner city, talking to the young black athletes and giving them some pointers on how to make a difference in their own communities. And they had to say, that he was a runner like no other, even though he had some domestic abuse problems. Like, really? Like
that got play?
Yeah, like you had to before you could get the helmet off him, you had to chop him off at the knees. And then you go from there to him in the Dirty Dozen. And, they say that he didn't, while he was filming The Dirty Dozen, he decided that he wasn't going to continue playing football because he was supposed to go to camp. And they weren't paying those guys shit back then. And then from there it jumped right to, and he had the first interracial love scene with Raquel Welch. I'm just like, are you guys like trying to say like Jim Brown was a great man? Or are you just trying to like do kind of a semi little smear campaign?
First of all, is that true? That was the first ever interracial love scene on film?
That's what I mean, I would have
it may be true. I just never knew it.
Yeah.
Did they talk at all about
Jim Brown was a handsome motherfucker, and she, you know how I feel about her, so.
Right. They show any footage of any of the walks that he did, any of the marches?
No,
that he was there for. That was absent from the reel.
No, fuck no. Why would they do that? It's like this thing I saw the other day, and they were talking to this older couple, and he had a magazine. And he said, this guy asked him, he said, make America great again. I guess like when? He goes, that's a very divisive hat. The guy's probably like 75 years old. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, why? He says, 1965, civil rights. I mean, it's a lot of turmoil. When was it great for the black man? And the guy says, well, it was just better times. He said, but not for the black man. And the guy just, it's like the other one I sent you the other day, and the guy's walking along. He's got this big pro-life.
God is pro-life?
God is pro-life. And the guy walks up and he goes, yeah, what's the deal with that? He goes, God loves you. God loves everyone. God is pro-life. He goes, is that why he killed everybody on the planet except Noah and some farm animals? And the guy just looked at me. He was
nothing.
Yeah, I was like, it's like he had a stroke. It was like, fuck, man. Like,
if we're putting this all in God's hands and we're saying he's in control, I don't know how many people he killed today, but it's a fair number. Brilliant.
It's God's will.
God's will.
Could
and
you
listen,
you imagine if God could just know what everybody in Daytona Beach's mind was, it would be fucking. Because you watched that show.
I watched it last night, and I was saying to myself, this is the end of civilization. If you need any evidence as to the show is it open? Oh, it used to be on patrol. It used to be called On Patrol Live.
I think it's not called that anymore. What's it called?
Oh no, it used to be called Live PD. Now it's On Patrol Live. Okay, because they kicked it off of A&E because the woke douchebags decided that anything that celebrated police officers or showed the hard work by the police officers that follow the rule cannot get any airtime, similar to the Jim Brown thing. They threw that off of A&E and they jumped over to Reels, which I think it's probably barely a network, but it's on, and so they cover.
People will find that motherfucker.
It's actually 2 of the 8 departments that they profile, and they just go out and they follow whatever's going on, and they cut to the different departments, whoever's got cool shit going on. And they've got Daytona, the city, but then they've also got Volusia County, which is the county that Daytona.
I just wanted to say though that Daytona Beach and the top 150 places to live got number 49.
Was it by number of teeth, or like what were the criteria?
The intangibles. The fact that the blue wave here doesn't take a whole lot of shit. Like Chitwood, our fucking sheriff's a motherfucker, man, and I mean that in a good way. Like he's had several death threats, and he's found out who they are, and he's waited for them at the airport when they extradite these people. When they press charges, they had a huge anti-Semitic problem in Volusia County, and he spearheaded it and went after the fuckers, and he's had a lot of death threats from white supremacists and groups such as. But he's always been. Chitwood has always been. He used to work out at the same gym with me back when it was Huge Iron. Back in the day when I used to take my son to a little private school, and I used to take him up, drive him up there, and then work out in the mornings. And I always just see Chitwood there, so he's a good dude.
Yeah,
Republican.
Something. Well, yeah. Listen, it's fucking. There's decent Republicans out there, but the wrong parts of the 2 parties are getting the fucking press, and this has always been my problem. The trolls post on YouTube don't listen enough to know how we feel about this.
Honestly,
I'm not going to speak for you. How I feel.
Honestly, though, I mean, like, to me, I thought like early in Biden's presidential run, I thought he was on fire, and then he has kind of petered out. And I'm wondering now, I'm gonna have to look back time-wise and figure out when they assassinated him.
Right. We got to get in touch with that guy. Maybe he could be on the next Nash and Friends, the gentleman that gives.
If we can find out, Steve get on that, do some kind of facial recognition.
Or just give him a facial. Maybe.
We'll all give him a facial and talk German.
I would need some Blue Chew to get up for that kind of action, and
Boom.
fortunately, I can get some, okay? This segment, the Stiff One of the Week, is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, guys, okay? Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Well, now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up. It's called BlueChew.com. That's what I want you to... that's where I want you to go. Look at those packets. Beautiful, ready to rock. They've got mint. They're chewable, okay? Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in the chewable tablets you're looking at right there, okay? And it's at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime, day or night. Plan ahead. Be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Process is simple. Just go to BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, best part, you're getting your prescription within days. Through the mail. It's all done online. No trips to the doctor's office, awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, okay? We want to help you have better sex, and so we, as we always do, we've arranged for something special for one of our oldest and most tried and true sponsors. You're going to try it for free, okay? You're going to use the promo code NASH at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping, okay? We want you to have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. That's BlueChew.com, promo code NASH, to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Stiff One of the Week. Kev, did you ever listen to Joey Diaz do his Blue Chew read? It's unbelievable. I can never do it justice. I think, Steve, if you can find like the first... Usually does it in the beginning. He's like, all right, cocksuckers, you want to get out there? You want to get slinging your dick? Get out there. I'm always worried about the language I'm using for the Blue Chew commercial. They write some heavy-duty stuff there, but I never want to go above them. But he's fucking all over the place. It's worth a play if we can get it. But first, let's do the Stiff One of the Week here. This one, this is the Honky Tonk Man from one of the kayfabe commentary shows on Chief J Strongbow. I was talking with, I know that that Waltman always got on with Strongbow. And did I ask you that on the air the other day?
Yeah, Chief really was he was an advocate of mine.
Okay, so you find guys on both sides of that fence, and you guys are clearly Strongbow people, but a lot of people weren't, and I think Honky could be considered one of them. So here's Honky on the Chief.
Salvatore M. says, Honky Tonk Man, who has destroyed more young wrestlers' careers, drugs or Chief J Strongbow?
J Strongbow.
I'm glad he asked.
And I got that quote from Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, Randy used to say to me, ooh, I just wonder, I really wonder how many careers this fucking guy has destroyed.
Set the game clock to 30 seconds and tell me how many careers Jay Strongbow has ruined. Do you know anyone? Any detailed stories about how working for Jay Strongbow as an agent can end a young wrestler's career?
Well, it's not just young wrestlers. I mean, it's guys that's in the business. Like, it was so humiliating for this fucking guy to come up and change the order of the matches just because you might have your wife and kids there to see you after 50 or 60 days. That's a no good prick to do that kind of stuff. And it was something he did because he wanted to do it. We could have been on the same show that afternoon with another agent who had the same rundown, who stuck it up there and said, here you go, fellas, just do whatever you did last night. But then here's Strongbow. He looks around. I got my wife and kids. I have to hide them in the parking lot underneath trucks and shit so he can't find them, and somebody stooges off, and he changes it. And he would do it. He did it to Lanny, and he would do it to Randy, and he did it to me. He would do it to a lot of. He would do things like that, or he would come and tell you. He would go tell a TV enhancement guy. Now, when you get out there tonight, you don't lay on your ass now. You make this guy work. Make the guy work. We got a 3-minute enhancement job fucking match on TV. I'm the star. This guy is getting paid $500 to go out there and make me look good. And Strongbow, no, you fight back out there and make a match. Make a match? Fuck, I'm gonna have to kill the guy now. But anyway.
So Kev, none of this ever.
Would ruin guys.
Never experienced any of that. Didn't change the order.
I'm sorry. I could not hear that. That audio was horrible. Jesus Christ.
Oh, it was too low?
Fuck. Opposite. I thought the Blues Brothers fucking cop car came by.
What? You didn't hear the dialogue?
No, it was so fucking loud.
Oh, it was loud.
Jesus Christ.
Steve was excited. He's a Honky Tonk Man fan. All right. Florida man or Jersey guy. The game has returned. Your record is impeccable. And you'll have to defend your title tonight against some stiff competition here. The real headlines, folks. One story involving a Jersey guy and one involving a Florida man. Here are the two headlines. First, a donut desperado live streams his leap over the counter and theft of Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, that's the first one. And the second, two fathers accused of shooting each other's young daughters during a road rage incident. So the first was Donut Desperado live streams his leap over the counter and theft of Dunkin' Donuts. And two fathers accused of shooting each other's young daughters during a road rage incident.
Though we have Dunkin' Donuts, I think of Dunkin' Donuts as more of a Northeast kind of a deal. But road rage, shooting at each other's cars, that's kind of fucking. That's got a tag with an orange all over it.
Maybe this was an easy one. The gun thing I can see. I didn't know the Dunkin' aspect there.
Well,
but,
you
are correct.
When you go to Boston Airport, I mean that's when you go to Logan, there's Dunkin' Donuts at every fucking gate.
The Donut Desperado, police in Middlesex County are seeking the thief who live streamed himself jumping the counter at a Dunkin' Donuts to steal a donut. Dubbed the Donut Desperado, the pastry poacher seemed to show off with a little dance while snatching the donut, taking a bite at 8:30 p.m. in South Brunswick. So.
Do you have a favorite donut
from Dunkin' Donuts?
From Dunkin' Donuts.
I am a basic Boston cream fan, but my all-time favorite donut when I'm in the mood is the apple crumb. Yeah.
Mine's the frosted chocolate honey dip.
I don't think I've ever had that.
It's like a fucking chocolate deviled donut with fucking frosting on top of it.
Let's keep talking
frosting.
about this, because then you're talking to a guy who can't have the fucking carbs anymore right here. So
then my second favorite is a blueberry crunch.
I've had that.
A blueberry crunch and a fucking like a nice just Americana, just fucking something like going to get after your blood work when you're after you fasted, you just want to fucking kick out because you're in a coma.
You got to get the blood sugar back up.
Got to get it up.
Oh God, there's a Krispy Kreme by you, Kevin. Is it on International Speedway?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like an old house.
Yep.
It's on a corner. Holy balls! It's funny. An episode of that the cop show one night. He pulls into a lot to settle a big parking lot to settle some dispute, and in the background I see it wasn't Shake Shack, it's a Steak and Shake. Steak and
Shake. Yeah,
there was one there. Now, when I was trapped down there for COVID for 7 months, one of the many scares when anyone in the house would get a sniffle and we'd have to go find someone to do a fucking test. After everyone came out negative, we driving back, and I was like, "Come on, let's celebrate. Let's get some drive-through." And I pulled into that very Steak and Shake because I remember it was like a closed.
The Frisco melt is fucking. That fucking Frisco melt. It's a buttered like Texas toast with a hamburger and cheese with like Thousand Island dressing.
Oh, this is like describing a woman to me. Unbelievable.
Oh, fuck, man, those are so good. So I was under the weather the other day, and I have never done Uber Eats in my life. So
whole new world, Kev.
Fuck. So I couldn't find a Little Caesars that would do it, but Pizza Hut would. So I got a sausage, hamburger, red pepper, and jalapeno 12-inch pie. I haven't oh my God. And she said, "Do you want anything with that?" And I knew that there was a Diet Coke out in the refrigerator. I said, "Fuck no." I said, I haven't been drinking a soda in I don't know how fucking long. So I said, "No, I'm fine," because I can't drink any alcohol after these stem cells. So fucking man, that first bite and fucking.
So you had a Pizza Hut, sausage, pepper, jalapeno pizza, and a Coke, and then you left some comments on the Kliq This YouTube probably right after that, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So anyway, so on the show,
hand tossed.
I see the very Steak and Shake that I went to. Later then they cut away. They go to Ohio and the other police precincts. They go back to Daytona Beach. The fucking cop is in that very Krispy Kreme. That night, I ate the Steak and Shake, and then I was pulling out to head back to Palm Coast, and I was like, you know what? Look at that glorious structure, like a beacon in the night. With the it was where you could see the donuts behind the guys at the counter rolling down, being made.
And it always says hot ones now. Like they've always got scalding hot glazed donuts coming out of that motherfucker.
Well, I had a hot one now, and they were amazing. I don't need the raspberry filled. I don't need any of that shit.
No,
just give me the
fuck
glazed,
that.
straight
Yep.
up. Oh God.
That's the only time I'll ever fucking eat dairy is with donuts. A big glass of milk with donuts is just fucking
Money.
as bad as it is for you.
You know, superstar Billy Graham passed.
And
this kind of got me in a way that I didn't expect. First of all, Billy Graham has kicked out over the last 10 or 15 years, like 10 times, of situations that we thought were near the end. I remember his old agent, Scott Epstein, reaching out like...
Scott, what a great guy Scott
remember
was.
Scott? Yeah, he was like, "Doesn't look good, Oliver, doesn't look good. You want to send a message." And I felt like it was every 6 months. And then he'd make an appearance at a convention. So I was like, this is the greatest fucking promoter, Scott Epstein, in the world. He puts his client at death's door, calls everybody in creation so it gets carried by the websites, and then he's at a convention. But anyway, so this was really the passing of superstar Billy Graham. And when you think back to the 70s superstar, not the karate thing of when he shaved his head, or even the comeback, there was a really flawed restart that McMahon tried in the late 80s. That template that he created with the blonde, the tie-dye, I'm sure Jesse credits superstar, right? Probably very publicly. But that template for the heel and I think superstar probably talked about Muhammad Ali as being an influence because it was so.
Yeah.
It was so. Might have even talked on one of my shows. It's in my head. But that template lasted. He was so one of a kind. You could maybe draw some comparisons to like Buddy Rogers, but
I went.
It was charisma beyond Buddy Rogers.
I went through and looked at it, because when I moved out to Phoenix, he lived way out in Avondale, and he had a little gym. And I went in there and I talked to him, and he was such a gracious, and I think I was the IC champion at the time, and he asked me what I was doing out there, and I said I came out here to see you. And I just kind of picked his brain and just sat there for a while, and but I went back and looked at some of his work. And Steve, I don't know if you can find this or not. I don't know if it's The Garden, but it's him versus fucking Putski. And they do like the tackle spot, and then fucking finally, it just, you can just see like his ability to, to give. Like he wasn't afraid. He was a big motherfucker, man, but he wasn't afraid to be a heel. And he could have very easily been, went the other way. But of course, back in those days,
right,
there were no tweeners, because they're.
You have to wonder the direction of the WWF at the time, if Senior didn't go with Bob Backlund.
It would have went with fucking...
Because it was only a year. He only let Superstar keep... It was less than a year. And then he went with Bob for 6 years.
Look at look how small fucking his waist is, man.
Yeah. We're looking at footage, anyone listening, of Putski and Superstar in the ring. It is the Garden. And I remember on that time, anyone who wants to watch something great, I think we have it up for free now. Steve, it's up for free, right? We said we were going to do this for free. At the inside the KC Vault on YouTube, we put up our timeline, our edition of Timeline with Superstar Graham. And the link is youtube.com/KC Vault. And it's he covers 77 and 78. He covers the title reign from the day he was told he was going to get it. And he was going to beat Bruno and lose it to Bob, and dealing with Vince Sr. It's such a fascinating edition of the show. And I do want to reveal that he was my inspiration for creating the Timeline series. I was listening on my iPod at the time, I guess, to a shoot interview with Superstar, and the person who was interviewing him asked about the title change. And he gave an answer, and then they moved on. He gave just a quick answer about it, and then they moved on. I was like, are you fucking kidding? I said, I'm standing there in my kitchen in the middle of the night, probably having cookies and milk, or maybe a donut and milk, in my drawers, and I became incensed. I was like, oh my, I could do a whole show on just that year. And I said, you know what? I bet we could do a whole show with the right person on every year in the WWE. And that was the idea for Timeline. Then I eventually got it. He wasn't the first one we did, but I think he was like the fourth or fifth. We eventually got him in, and we did just the one of the best editions of that show.
Once again, watching the screen, Graham has him in a fucking bear hug for 4 minutes. And then all he does is Putski just, takes him in the corner, rams him. Then they reverse they just reverse it. And they've done nothing. I mean, they've done nothing.
And the crowd's going banana.
Yeah. It just, and granted, like I said, it's a different era, but you know what? That looks like two fucking men right there, man.
Yeah, looks like a fight.
Yeah, that's some big old motherfuckers. But you never see Putski look small, and he looks, he looks.
This was the kind of like he got much more defined and like zero body fat in like the early '80s. This was when Putski still had, because Putski was much more stocky when he first started. And this was kind of in that transition where he was.
I think Superstar was so fucking. I mean, that was the look he had. There was no way, There's a reason why there's that world famous picture of Arnold working with Superstar posing, because it was just like. He's the real fucking deal.
God, I would have kept the strap on him for 5 years and just had people chase.
Fuck yeah, man.
He had it all. He talked. I mean, there's no reason not to have him front and center. Amazing. But
obviously he was too much of a man.
Billy was one of the guys that became pretty vocal about steroid abuse and he didn't keep the conversation just about himself. He made a lot of accusations about WWE and the availability of steroids, and that kind of made him a pariah at the time. But there's no denying the effect he had and what that Superstar Graham template became for guys like Jesse and I bet Flair would even credit him. He didn't go the bodybuilder route, but certainly
I think that he was more Buddy Rogers.
Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably closer to the Buddy Rogers, but I mean, you see a lot of Buddy Rogers in Billy.
I think that was just that era of you take, a cup of wrestler, and that's what they all had was that cup of wrestler, and then you added, different things. So I mean, I just think that was the wrestler of that era was, a lot of guys with the bleach blonde hair, and it's one of the things is that I'm surprised is, I guess because we take so many fucking pills, that we die before we get skin cancer. But being a pro wrestler, man, you gotta. I mean, I'm sure now because they've got spray. On Magic Mike, they spray tanned us, and they had this spray tan. Felicia was the lady that spray tanned us, and she had a product that she would spray you, and if you were a darker complexion person, like I'm American Indian, I would get dark. Like I would get darker than most of the other guys. Like Joe would get dark, but I would always get a couple of coats because I was just like, fuck it. I've been on stage before bodybuilding, so I was going to make sure I'm in no hurry not to have good color. So.
Bring that quote up from Flair. We do have a tweet that Flair sent out upon that. It says, "So sad to hear about Billy Graham's health. Make no mistake, talk about the influence he made on me and so many others, Hulk, Dusty, etc. You're beautiful. Bonnie dyed my hair in 1972. Stay strong, my mentor. FYI, you and Dusty Rhodes were my heroes. You made me." That's beautiful. That's really nice. That Flair posted that. That's great. Do you remember the first time you saw Superstar Billy Graham?
Yeah. I
do too. You think it's one of those things? Like you remember where you were? Everyone remembers the first time. I don't remember the first time I saw Hulk Hogan, honestly. I remember the first time I saw a Superstar Billy Graham.
I saw him in Joe Louis. I saw Hulk at Joe Louis.
But even on TV, do you remember the first time you saw Superstar Billy Graham?
No. I saw Hulk. The first time I saw Hulk was on Rocky.
Right. I saw him in the ring before that. In the 1980 run, his heel run, I remember.
I never saw him.
But Superstar...
I was watching basketball.
Superstar Billy Graham was the first... It was on the first broadcast I ever saw. I was over at a friend's house, and my friend's brothers were watching wrestling on a big black and white TV, like 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, Channel 9, New York TV, on a big black and white TV. And he had a match. I was like, what? They're kicking the fucking shit out of each other? And then he cut the promo. He looked right into the camera and through my soul and told me what he was going to do to whoever. I don't remember the promo, but I just remember going, holy shit. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. That was professional wrestling. That was what professional wrestling was supposed to do and did, if it was effective, to the viewer. It was the simulated violence, but then the character that you would never run into on a street corner. Unless maybe you were in Detroit talking to a few pimps, you could probably run into a Billy Graham type in a full-length leather coat.
No, he was very special.
He was amazing. He was amazing. Something else is amazing is how I'm sleeping these days, Kevin. I am rocking my SLEEPME every night, set to 55. I just wonder what my bloated hot ass would turn the mattress to before I had a temperature gauge on it. Because, I try to get to my 64, 65 sweet spot, and I put the gimmick on 55 to get that. I wonder, without that SLEEPME, I was probably laying in a bed that was like 80 degrees. I was probably baking slowly. I should baste myself before I get into bed.
You turn that bitch as low as you can get it so you can burn some body fat.
Yeah, well, now I'm down to my 55. And so thank you, SLEEPME. I want to talk to you about the SLEEPME sleep systems. Are you someone who needs a little extra recovery from a work? Yeah, maybe you just sleep hot in general. I am B. You don't need to suffer wake up tired or wake up sore or just wake up from an uncomfortable warm bed. This is an award-winning sleep system, okay? It's a mattress topper. It goes over your current mattress. You don't need to buy anything but this. The mattress is yours, the one you have. It uses water's thermal powers to cool your bed to as low as 55 degrees. That means no matter how hot you get, you can sleep at your ideal temperature, okay? All bed types, even adjustable ones, don't worry about it. It will work on your bed. If you don't like the idea of getting into a cold bed, you can schedule the temperature change. All right, start the night in a cozy, warmer bed, and then your pre-programmed sleep system will schedule automatically to cool down. Okay, currently SLEEPME offers 2 water-based systems, the Dock Pro, and the Cube. Both sleep systems provide mattress toppers that cool as low as 55 degrees. The Dock Pro is the newest, most powerful system for the perfect sleep climate. So, guys, if you need better athletic recovery, you're suffering from hot, uncomfortable sleep, you got to check out SLEEPME at sleep.me/Kevin. That is sleep.me/KEVIN. If you're a listener of this podcast, you can save up to 20% on a sleep system if you use promo code Kevin. This really is a game changer for me. I use it every night, and you need to check it out at sleep.me/Kevin. Save up to 20% using that promo code Kevin. All right, back at the headquarters here, at the Kliq This headquarters. The Kevin. Why am I talking like Bernie? We talked about Bernie over the break, so all of a sudden I came back with my Bernie. Kliq This Kevin Nash podcast. You want to talk to Kevin? You do it by typing #AskNash and tweet out your questions, and we will try to get them in. Like Mr. H, who says, Nash acting like $1 million is chump change shows he's completely detached from day-to-day reality. He's been wealthy for 30 years now, so isn't the best position to quantify the true value of $1. You just say something about my friend Kevin Nash here. He's been taking one for the team. Anytime you're on a fucking flight that Kevin Nash is on, millionaire Kevin Nash, he's saving your life by taking a first-class seat. Kev, do you know the video I'm about to play for everybody?
It's something that's it's with me every time that I board the plane and I sit down and I'm just thankful that I don't have that bulkhead, because after you see this tape, you'll realize that bulkhead's unforgiving. But
so they crash tested a plane.
Yeah.
To see what parts of the aircraft take the most damage. Now, Kev is sitting in first class. Let's watch this video.
Yeah.
I'm fine being above the wing. Row 35. Row 30.
It pretty much breaks off right where the fucking the curtain goes from first class to coach.
It's like there was a zipper around the outside between coach and first.
So when you're sitting up front, you're taking one for the team.
Yeah, for anyone who was listening, the aircraft the touchdown at frightening speed, and the front, literally like from the nose of the plane to where coach begins, gets flipped upside down, snapped off, and discarded, while the rest of the plane just kind of skids.
And on top of that, I'm not saying that $1 million isn't significant. I'm saying that if you had $1 million and you were taxed on it, you would have $600,000. If you put that into an account and you stopped doing everything you did and you were going to live on that, you're not going to, I mean, unless you've got 10 years, but
Well, 10 years is still only a $66,000 a year salary.
right.
So,
People say I'm out of touch. Yeah, I'm the out of touch guy driving the '05 Mustang with 140,000 miles on it because I refuse to fucking blow money. I'm the guy in the fucking 4,000 square foot home, not in the 12,000 square foot home. It's like I have a couple of pieces of real estate. I mean, I have rentals and stuff, but like this condo down here, this is, I think, 2240, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and there's nothing in it but there's a bed, a TV, and my studio. And but this is just because if my house gets destroyed, I don't want to be homeless. And I basically paid cash for that. I paid this thing off in 3 months, so I don't owe anything. And this is, to me, I've always, I tell my wife this all the time. I said, when I paid off the condo, and I could sit out and have coffee and look at the ocean, and knowing how bad my knees were, that I had an elevator to take me to the 5th floor, and I could pull that underneath, and it was just like I had made it. Like at 34 years old, I had made it. Like my life was, I could pump gas and fucking take care of my bills. So
I will confirm there's nothing extravagant about Kevin.
No.
There's he doesn't overspend. He's literally a t-shirt and shorts guy. If you run into him at Dunkin' Donuts, he's probably going to be wearing a tank and shorts. Just came from a workout or the beach, and so we have class envy in this country. Anyone listening to us overseas, we have a bad case of class envy. So anyone who succeeds in any capacity automatically becomes a target. I'm talking about financial success.
Right.
Not being a teacher of the year, great. But, when you do it to the tune of upward mobility, you become a target. People just naturally, and it comes out of envy, they don't like you. And it doesn't matter what you do as a person, just having the money seems to be enough to mark you.
It's funny because, you become a target, yet my wife still fucking shops at Target, so.
Right. You kind of have to keep keep the residency down there. You got to hit Target every once in a while.
No, but I'm just saying that my wife doesn't spend. I don't spend. My son wasn't a spendful person. He just had a moderate Jeep. Nobody gets new. We don't buy new cars. We buy cars that are a couple of years old. Let somebody else take the depreciation. Like we don't. Right. I mean, I bought the Mustang new because it was the first model and I wanted to have it. And I was making coin. I paid $38,000 for that thing. Cash,
right. Mark Capps, was the power bomb always your first choice for a finisher, or was there one before?
I was given to that. That was at the time was Adam Bomb's finish. And I just had like a fucking, the loaded glove of Diesel was like my finish. And when they started to push me, Vince said, give him the power bomb. So
it was a Vince thing.
Yeah, Vince, that was Vince's call.
Fernham Schnavitz, what are your thoughts about Bruce Prichard? He's spoken highly of you.
I've always got along well with Bruce.
How was he as what was his title there? I guess he wasn't an agent. Was he a writer? Producer, I guess, right? Producer is the title I think they give those guys.
Yeah. I mean, it was so different back then because it was such a small group of guys. It was basically him, Vince, and Pat. You know, so
the inner circle.
Yeah.
How about our audience here? We always take questions. You can be part of the live audience tapings as well if you go to KliqThisTV.com, become an 11 Soft member. David, Kevin, the Motor City Machine Guns were my favorite tag team in TNA. What are your thoughts on Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in and out of the ring? Any fun stories?
Yeah, they're Detroit boys. I mean, I actually went up and went to Game Change Wrestling and did a little bit with Alex out there. Alex and I have always been tight. We did that paparazzi together.
Yeah.
Which was like some of my favorite. Like I see shit now. I saw one the other day where I put my tits in Borash's face and I say, these are real and they're fantastic or something like that.
That was the Seinfeld line, right? From
Yeah.
Terry Hatcher.
And the thing is, it's just like how we got that shit on the air is just beyond me. But and it was just me and Borash and Alex Shelley.
Well, hey, now that we have a Nash and Friends, you know we tried to do that. Do you remember in Nashville? There was a scheduling conflict, but we were trying to get Alex on.
Yeah, we're trying to get Alex on. He couldn't. I think he was there for New Japan or somebody.
Yeah, we had a conflict. But
he had a match. He had a match. It was too close to match time.
Yeah. But it's a possibility again.
Yes.
Nash and Friends. Anything else from the audience? Let's see. What do we got? Brendan, Sean, I've been reading your book on starting KC. Was the Scott Hall run-in a work like it was in the final segment of the Iron Sheik roast? No, the Scott thing was not planned. We did plan the smack when Sheik smacked Brian Blair. That was a work, and the Scott thing was not. Scott was at the venue for an appearance. He wasn't scheduled to do anything for the roast. He just kind of came in the room in the state that obviously you all saw him in on the video, climbed up on the camera platform, was distracting the crowd. They started chanting for him and kind of taking over the event. And then unfortunate timing, the comedian made a joke about Owen Hart, and he jumped off the camera platform and charged the stage. And in that fracas, we had to kind of stop shooting for a little while. Me, the very concerned producer, can be seen just to the side of Scott as he has the comedian pinned by his neck against the wall, holding a video release that I'm going to have Scott sign the minute he drops the comedian. That's how concerned I was. That was all Scott. That was the real deal. I think he actually later in the night, Jim Powers was hanging with him that night. He kind of got him out of the room, and we resumed. And I think he was arrested later that night in the bar after the show, and we were gone for an altercation with a fan. But the Sheiky thing was set up. Booked by Kevin Sullivan, as a matter of fact.
Do we have to throw him underneath the fucking bus with the whole arrest and everything else?
Well, no, I want to make it clear he was not arrested for the... people sometimes say, he got arrested when he attacked the comic. He did not. There was no... He left.
The comic was stupid enough to fucking open his mouth about Owen.
It was bad timing. It was definitely bad timing.
It was bad taste.
It was bad taste. It was bad. But roasts are sometimes bad taste. It's one of those things. I can't justify assault. So we'll leave it there. I know you probably would have done the same thing, but
No, I wouldn't have showed up.
But yeah, so so that was that. And
If I wasn't getting paid, I wasn't going to be there.
well, if you were already there, maybe you would have wandered.
No.
To see the dais, see all your friends.
No.
Let's see, what do we got here? Dakota.
Maybe Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz. Dakota Cork. Hey, Kevin, I once heard that you pitched the idea of you and Ray become a team in WCW and win the tag titles. Is there any truth to that?
No.
No?
I don't recall it.
See how this shit gets started? Brent Reed. Hey, Nash. I struggle with not giving a fuck. Any advice would be appreciated. I love your podcast with Sean, and I'm thankful for you being a role model and a good person and helping me as I also have an autistic son. Bless you both. So Brent is struggling with not giving a fuck.
We got to give a fuck because you have an autistic kid. So you got to, I mean, I understand if sometimes you run out of energy and you go into a funk and it's like, I don't give a fuck. But no, you got to give a fuck until you're in a position where you have bought yourself some time not to give a fuck. You know,
Maybe just selectivity about what to give a fuck about.
Yeah, if you're living fucking month to month and to keep a roof over your family's heads, you know, I mean, there's you can not give a fuck on things that aren't, you know, of significance, but you have to. I just believe in being like the way Bob raised me was. The man takes care, like you give birth to a child, you take care, that's your family, you take care of them, and, you know. Now, whether or not you give a fuck how hungover you go to work is up to you, just as long as you go to work.
Is the thing you're most proud of being the dad you were to Tristan? Of all the things, I mean, you've accomplished a lot. In sports.
I think I was a good dad. I think that I was thinking about it today, and I was thinking about when he got sick and he was in the hospital for those months, and just, you know, a lot of times during COVID there would just be one. A lot of times we were able to pull it off. They would let me and Tamara, but some days they would only let one of us go over, and I would drive over every day and see him. And I just know that in his heart, like we never had to have a, you know, like that, you know, the speech or anything. But I know he appreciated, and I know that he knew that how much his dad loved him. And I wish there's so many things I would do different, you know, in hindsight, but. Mm-hmm. You know, when you grow up and you're a pro wrestler and you have a kid that's, you know, is watching you, and you really don't think of, you know, like the story of eating 33 somas in Nashville is ha-ha funny until some kid hears that story and eats 34 and fucking doesn't wake up. So it's like most of us that made it through that era are lucky to be alive. I think that the business was unforgiving. I think it was it's a blueprint for disaster. Mm-hmm. You know, just how anybody is supposed to keep a relationship going 27 days on the road and 3 or 4 days off. And, you know, month after month, year after year, how you're supposed to keep a family and keep a wife and keep a life that's of any kind of normalcy is just, and that's the whole thing. Like, you know, somebody says that I've lost touch of what $1 million is. Motherfucker, you've lost touch on what I did for a living and how I made my money And you might think $1 million is a lot, but what the fuck I gave up in my personal life to make that money, it's like blood diamonds, blood money. I was paid a fraction. There'll be a guy tonight playing for the Lakers that'll go in and play 6 minutes and probably is making this season more than I made my entire fucking 30 years. So if I'm out of touch, what the fuck is he? You know?
Did you hear echoes of Bob ever as while you were a dad? Like my dad died when I was 15, and even today, like, you know, sometimes I'll do a little comparison.
My dad,
I think he did a great job with me, but I sometimes use that as a barometer for how I'm doing with my kids. Where does Bob fit into all that?
I think because I had such a short time with him. But my dad loved scaring people. Like, he just absolutely loved fucking, and I've taken that, like, I love to scare people. Like, I will fucking hide in your closet for 2 hours and jump out with a knife just to give you a fucking heart attack.
Oh, literally, like prank
Yes,
scare.
yes. Fuck yes, man. Hide under a bed and grab your leg when you come in the room. I mean...
Bob Nash, I see him as a serious cat. I didn't...
No, Bob Nash would do this thing where fucking he'd drag his foot coming down the hallway, and he knew he was coming, and he'd put his top coat where he was like the headless horseman. Like, he'd pull his top coat all the way up, and then take the flashlight and hold it underneath him and have a big butcher knife in his hand and fucking walk into the room. Me and my brother would be in our fucking bunk bed screaming at the top of it. I never understood this as long as I lived. You got a 6'6", 300-pound dad, and you have a nightmare in the middle of the night. You go, Mom! Mom! What the fuck, right? Not Dad.
Because you're not looking for protection. You're looking for comfort, and that's what Mom was.
I don't know, man. If fucking somebody's chasing you and your fucking feet are sticking in the stairs coming up the fucking basement.
That's when I want Bob.
Yeah, that's when I want Bob. I don't want my mom, and that's what my dreams were always. How many times have you got in a dream where you get in a fight, and me and T used to talk about this all the time because he used to have the same dream, where like you throw a punch at somebody, and like this is the person who goes, like
you have no power.
It's just like you're like fucking. It's like you're throwing a water punch at them. You know, there's just nothing there, and they're clocking you.
Mine is often the false dialing the phone. I keep fucking up the number, like I'm trying to dial for help or something.
Oh, that's just me on a daily basis with my dyslexia.
Barney Rubble with his technology over here.
Look, I gotta write the number down and fucking look at it before I send it. I'm like, oh fuck, man, there's no 7 in that thing.
And I always have the actor dream still. I'm always on stage, and I don't know what show I'm in or what the lines are, but I walk into the middle of it, and I have to perform.
Do you think it's possible we could get a call sheet for the fucking the news we watch every night? Like all the shit that's going on?
A call sheet.
Like Jim Jordan, like just what time all these different players that are in this movie that we're watching.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see that call sheet. That's
just every day, a little packet of sides. Just
yeah.
And
that's got to be.
And well, but you see, with the assassination of Biden, and are we to assume then that all the other players have all been assassinated as well, and these are all actors, like the Bill Barr that we watched before? Is that Bill Barr, or was that Peter from Family Guy just animated really realistically?
Yeah. You know, they have those pictures of Biden where he's got his ears where his earlobes aren't attached. And then there's pictures of Biden where his earlobes are attached. And I'm thinking to myself like, wow, that's crazy, because I've seen women that have had facelifts have that same fucking thing happen. They pull so much fucking skin back that they end up fucking having to hide the scar with the fucking LBJ earlobe.
Right. So maybe he's had some work, or
he
the actor.
There's another cat. Could you imagine that fucking hunt for the doppelganger? Just to get that fucking
So exact, right?
The Biden shuffle, just to get that motherfucker down.
Yeah. There were open calls at nursing homes all over the country.
Yeah, but this is during the pandemic. I mean, you're talking about a hard cast.
It's true. Yeah, I wouldn't have been wanted. I would not want to have been tasked with that.
No. And I knew that fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman had passed, because he could have played anybody. So.
He could do anything.
Yeah.
A little bit of makeup.
Yeah. So I mean, he's passed. So I don't know. I gotta say this though, because I was going to bring this up to you before we got started, but I want to make sure that anybody that's out there that's looking for something to watch and needs some motivation, watch the Conor McGregor Netflix documentary. It's a 4-part series. I don't know whether you guys like him or don't like him. He's the only reason that I got involved with MMA. Like that, like when he's my Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods fucking was putting on the fucking the Nike red shirt for fucking Sunday, I was watching fucking pro golf. And if McGregor was getting in the octagon, I was watching that. I didn't give a fuck what I had to pay for it. I bought the Mayweather fight. I just like the guy, and I really didn't know everything about him, but watching this and to watch somebody that's worth $200 million go through all the shit that he does just to continue to fight because he's doing it for the love of and not for the fucking money is, I don't know, man. It was fucking refreshing.
Do you think he's out of touch, though, with what $1 million is worth?
No. I don't think he gives a fuck what it's worth. I know that because his whole thing is, and he says something, they end up going to Fight Island, which is over in the Emirates, and this is during the COVID thing, and they are staying in Dubai, and Fight Island is somewhere else. And they've got this, basically the same thing they were doing with the NBA with the bubble. And so Conor wants his whole team to go ahead and board a private yacht, and they're going to take that over to Fight Island. This motherfucker looks like a Princess fucking cruise line. And he shows up and he's shaking everybody's hands. He's got a pair of Versace fucking silk pajamas on, and he goes out and he's on the balcony. He's drinking a fucking sparkling water, and he makes it. His kids are playing in the hot tub. His wife's there. She's pregnant with his third, and fuck, sorry. And he just says that he feels so blessed that he's able to provide this lifestyle for not only his family, but for his team.
Yeah, that's dope. Kind of like you with Kliq This.
That's the whole thing, though. It's just he's very grounded. I want everybody to watch this that can, and I want them to. He's not working this. I mean, No,
I'm going to check it out. He's an interesting guy. That's what documentaries are supposed to be about. Interesting people. I think he's an interesting guy.
Yeah,
I have to watch OP live tonight to see what's going on in Daytona, but tomorrow I'll catch that.
Yeah, at least catch 45. 40. I think the first one was 48 minutes.
Audience, come on, you're here. Let's hear you. What do you want Kevin to answer? Our live audience. Jen Vargo, has anyone watched Mrs. Davis on Peacock? Good show and only 8 episodes.
What is it?
Is it Jen? Is it like a reality thing or is it scripted? Let us know. Oh wait, I see.
I like The Watchmen.
Okay.
I might lose me on that one.
I haven't seen it. I'll let you know if I do. Next.
What is it on?
Peacock.
Okay.
Next.
I have Peacock.
Brandon Douglas on the episode of Impact when the main event Mafia took over. How difficult was it to do commentary with Scott Steiner's over-the-top announcing? Any funny memories of that episode?
Is that the one? I think that we did that from the Hard Rock Cafe in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah. It was a really cool vibe, though. It was almost like, because we were in suits and shit, like it felt very Rat Pack.
Oh, yeah, being in Vegas. I don't know, though, like, when you've got to do venues that are not sports venues, that's fucking...
It's a small enough venue where it fucking felt, the crowd was hot.
Yeah.
It was, that main event Mafia was that was a nice crew of guys. And they fucked that up, man.
Well, yeah.
Imagine
As
that.
is so often the story of what went on over there.
Imagine that, me working for you. Whoa, signs everywhere, signs.
Isolate that for the album. Oh, let's see, Jen. Kev, thoughts on Bron Breakker? I think he has a lot of future potential to be a title holder down the line.
I held Bronson when he was fucking this big.
Really?
I've been friends with Robbie and Scotty. I mean, all three of them. I mean,
because he's how old now? That would have been what year?
Bron is probably 23. Because there's a picture of him. Tristan's maybe 5, and Bronson's like pretty young, and they're sitting. They're in a sandbox on the side of Robbie's house.
That's great.
And
did he live near you? What were you hanging out with him for at that time?
Well, we were in Atlanta. And he was in Cherokee County, so I mean, it was like 30 minutes.
Oh, all right, yeah, that's right. Because 2000 would have been, yeah. Anyone else? Joseph Carr. I'm 33 and bound to a hospital bed or wheelchair at all times. Kliq This and the AFS podcast really brightened my day. Glad to join Kliq This on its growth and just brought 2K t-shirts last night. That's great, Joseph.
Thanks,
I'm
Joseph.
glad we could give you something, bro. Is it something you're in recovery for, or is it a permanent situation? Let us know. But thank you for being part of this. We love to hear that we're helping out. Jen Vargo, Kev, you sacrificed a lot physically, emotionally, and mentally to entertain us, so thank you. That's very nice as well.
And the thing is just so, a lot of times people ask you if you had to do it all over again, would you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure I would have made the sacrifices that I did with my family and my body.
You would have done basketball though, probably, right? If you could have kept playing.
God, yeah. I mean, you think of I think of all the things I've done in my life, and like to put on a pair of shorts and a tank top and a pair of sneakers and be indoors during the wintertime and being outdoors during the summertime on the asphalt, and just all you need is a ball and one other dude. You don't even need that, man. You need a ball and imagination, and you can fucking. I mean, I had that basketball. That was my bitch, man. That was it. That was my life. I love basketball.
Paul Whiting ever catch your balls on the top rope? That might be the question of the whole series. Best question, I think.
If I ever caught because my singlet was pretty fucking tight. It kept the package, like the package was...
You were snug.
Tucked.
Yeah. Okay. Fair question, though. Johnny Fair. Yo, if I join 11 Soft, can we do watch-alongs to old episodes of Welcome Back, Kotter? I have no problem with that.
I'd rather not.
But what if Travolta's the guest?
I would rather not because I didn't watch it when it was fucking first run. So
a little Gabe Kaplan in the evening?
I'll pass.
I have a final question for the audience here. Who would you like to see next on Nash and Friends? Just curious what would come up here. Send Steve your chat room answer. Bischoff. Josh votes for Eric Bischoff. Joseph Carr votes for Mick Foley. Jassy Santiago says Steve Austin. Brandon. We have a 141 and 2/3 chance of getting Scott Steiner.
True.
All right. These are good names. Oh, Dally. That's a good one. That'd be a fun one. Yeah. Dallas. Brandon Douglas voting for Dallas. Well, we will let you know. But what I'm going to let you know now is that Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat, producer Steve Kaufman, graphics by Dominic D'Angelo, title sequence and audio edit by Wesley Burleson, created by Tristan Nash, Kevin Nash, and Sean Oliver, theme song by Dale Oliver, no relation, technical research by Tristan Nash, copyright 2023, Butch and Sundance Media. Kev, you want to do another?
I would love to, hopefully Tuesday.
Sounds good to me. Tuesday it is. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to our live audience, always making it special and extra fun.
You forget they're there, but then it's kind of cool because you actually they get to see what the fuck we do because I after 30 seconds, because there's no interaction, I forget. I mean, I got to get in piss. I just got up and pissed. I didn't even think about it, and all of a sudden the questions started coming up. I'm like, oh, oops.
Well, that's the unbridled access that they pay for, seeing us warts and all.